The last few years have shown how hard it is to forecast property trends. The housing markets have transitioned from the once-in-a-generation property boom experienced in 2020-21 to the adjustment phase of the property cycle, and that could be best described as multi-speed. While many factors affect property values, the main drivers are consumer confidence, availability of credit, low interest rates, and economic growth. How the Australian property market is in a downturn, but not all states' property markets are being impacted equally. Each state is at its own stage of the property cycle, and within each capital city there are multiple markets with property values rising in some locations while others are stable or falling. The government is moving aggressively on interest rates, taking them from COVID emergency lows to more normal levels, causing many commentators to warn that we are going to have a housing market crash. Please subscribe to my channel and click the bell to get alerts when a new video is posted. You are welcome to write your comments, questions, or concerns you would like to share. Interest rates are only one of the many factors that affect home prices. Considering the current state of the economy, financial health and property markets, there's no credible reason to suggest that a crash should happen now. Sure, there will be a housing market correction. It started at the beginning of the year in Sydney and Melbourne, and is now working its way across the nation, but there will be no property market crash. It wouldn't be a surprise if house prices came down by 10% as higher interest rates bite. It is important to note that home values went up 25% over the past 2 years, which was a very big increase. I don't want to forecast housing prices because it's very difficult to do so, but as interest rates rise further, I'd expect more heat to come out of the housing market and prices to come down further. Just how high the cash rate will go remains a contentious issue. The interest rate increase in May has delivered consecutive double whammy increases since June, making economists and borrowers worried about how high interest rates may go and that this could crash housing markets. But after the announcement in September for 0.5% rate increase, predictions have changed. Many are suggesting there are signs that rate increases may be nearing the peak. Of course, once consumers realize that inflation is under control and that interest rates have peaked, pent-up demand will once again ensure property markets move forwards. In short, buyers need more money to buy a property, but they aren't able to borrow as much as they could when interest rates were lower. And the rising inflation and cost of living mean a deposit is harder to save. So it's easy to see why we're entering a downturn. Taking a weighted average, the overall Australian mean property value will end up much the same as at the start of the year. Sydney property values will end the year down by 6%, led by the more expensive end of the market, but this is after home values increased by 32% over the last 3 years. Melbourne property values will also fall by 6% over the calendar year after growing by almost 19% in the last 3 years. Brisbane property values will end the year 11% higher. Adelaide property values will grow by 12% in 2022. Perth property values will finish the year 9% higher. We're seeing property prices fall in both capital cities and regional Australia, but the pace of these falls are starting to slow down. But overall, markets are suffering, in part due to falling consumer confidence and in a large part due to affordability issues. For sure, the value of some properties may decrease in the coming months, some by as much as 10%, but that will only be in the short term. There are still some strong patches in property markets where A-grade homes and investment-grade properties are still selling well, since buyers are becoming more selective. Strategic investors are not faced by this stage of the cycle. They understand real estate is a long-term game and they're more focused on the long-term rise in values rather than short-term slumps. Some of the discretionary buyers are now out of the market, but people are still getting married, others are getting divorced, and some are having babies, and they usually require new homes, so our property markets are going to keep on keeping on. In addition, the return of immigration, falling unemployment and rising wages, as well as rising exports and a strong economy, will be supportive factors. Please subscribe to my channel and click the bell to get alerts when a new video is posted. You are welcome to write your comments, questions, or concerns you would like to share.